Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. I'd like to welcome you, dear viewers, to another in our series, In the Light of Islam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah's peace and blessings be on each and every one of you. In our program, we look at your questions which have come into us through a variety of different ways. Questions which have come through letters, some have come through emails, through faxes, some have come at the end of lectures. You may contact me with your questions by writing to Sharjah Television, P.O. Box 111, Sharjah TV, in the Light of Islam. Put my name on the letter also. Or you may email. My personal website is www.bilalphillips.com. You may contact me through the website. Or you may fax to my office at 9716-5323-724. At any rate, let's have a look at some of the questions which have come through to us. The first one concerns dogs and the licking. If a dog licks one's hands, how do we deal with this? If a dog licks your right hand, Dr. Bilal, then surely this is similar to cleaning your eating vessel 7 times. Our question is actually relating back to a point which was discussed earlier concerning the issues of the dog and what is required in terms of Islamic hygiene with regards to the dog. The Prophet ﷺ said that if a dog eats in your the vessel from which you're eating or drinking, then you should pour out its contents, allow the dog to finish, and then wash that vessel, the glass or the bowl or cup, wash it 7 times, one of which you should use clean earth. And I mentioned that this is the case for the vessel from which we're eating. As to a dog licking our hands or whatever, it's not the same requirement, or if he licks your clothing or whatever. So the questioner is writing suggesting that really the hand is like that vessel. So as he said, because you will then eat with that right hand. So the hand is acting like an eating vessel. So surely it should be treated likewise. He's suggesting that the hand should also be washed 7 times, one of which by earth. However, though this might seem somewhat logical, the reality is that the Prophet ﷺ specified eating vessels. For our hands, he did not specify this washing, so therefore the hand falls back to the normal requirements. It may very well be because the hand is in a different position from the vessel. Because the hand is coming into contact with so many other things. It may also be that the hand contains certain bacteria or whatever, which can help to neutralize the effects of whatever harm is coming from the saliva of the dog. So it's not for us to try to introduce something which really has not been prescribed in the Sharia. Prophet ﷺ did not prescribe the washing of the hands 7 times. Another question which has come through: Dear Dr. Bilal, your program In the Light of Islam has been very enlightening for us. On one of the programs you spoke about polygyny, that is, marrying more than one wife, and why Islam had permitted it. Could you please explain for us why the Prophet ﷺ stopped Ali from taking a second wife? Okay, he's referring to an incident where Ali, his son-in-law, Prophet ﷺ's son-in-law, had decided he wanted to marry a second wife. And when Fatima, his daughter, the daughter of Prophet ﷺ, found out about it, she became very sad. And she went to her father, and he saw her sad, asked her what it was, And she explained that, Ali wanted to marry a second wife. So the Prophet ﷺ called Ali and presented a case to him, suggested that, hey, he feels very, sympathetic for his daughter, and basically what hurts her hurts him. So he asked him, really, could you, hold off from marrying anyone besides Fatima? And this was a personal request on his part. I mean, he could not make the marriage of other than Fatima forbidden. If the people that Ali were choosing were people who were acceptable for marriage, then the Prophet ﷺ could not have insisted and required Ali, his son-in-law, to comply with that. However, he did request of him for the sake of his daughter's feelings, and Ali acquiesced, accepted the Prophet ﷺ's request, and left the idea of marrying another person while Fatima was alive. But within 6 months after the death of Prophet ﷺ, Fatima died, and then Ali married a number of wives. So the issue of the Prophet ﷺ stopping Ali from taking a second wife cannot be used as proof or support for those who seek to curtail the practice of polygyny, saying that it's not appropriate in our times, it's outmoded, it's only for circumstances where there are prisoners of war and these kind of primitive type circumstances. But in our times, really, it's just not relevant. No, this is not the case at all. There are Muslims who practice polygamy in the most relevant and modern of circumstances. The next question, a question which has come through from Dubai, the viewer writes, "Dear Dr. Bilal, I've heard kalimas and surahs being played in nursery rhyme tunes. Is it allowed? It makes learning surahs early for children a lot easier." Well, when we're talking about the kalimas, of course, they're referring to different combinations, whether it is the declaration of faith, or declaration of one's belief in the pillars of Iman. Now, these have been put together in certain particular phrases, which have come to be known in the Indian subcontinent as the kalimas, and are among the first things that children are taught. Now, the question is, can these, along with chapters from the Quran, be played in nursery rhyme tunes? Well, as a general rule, we can say it's not prohibited. However, connecting it to nursery rhyme tunes, if one developed one's own tune, it would be better. To use it for the common nursery rhyme tunes of, Jack and Jill went up a hill, or, London Bridge is falling down, or, these type of tunes, which when people hear it, that's what they go back to. I think it's really not appropriate because it is promoting a false idea. And basically, this practice of using nursery rhymes, whose contents are quite questionable in a lot of cases, is something that, as educationists, we have to seek to find some other alternatives. I mean, meaning that Muslims are capable of developing nursery rhymes without having to resort to the common ones, which when people hear them, they'll associate with the original wordings. And truly, it will make education a lot easier for children. No one can deny that. However, we need to stick with the way which was taught by the Prophet ﷺ and his companions, and of course beautifying the Quran with our voices is part of the Sunnah. The Prophet ﷺ prescribed it, so we may do so in a rhythmic form or whatever, but try to use some rhymes and rhythms which are not specifically identified with Western